What's up, everybody? Paul here from the Hoops Crew with a brand new episode of the Paul James Show. It is our Monday night review episode. And apologies to everyone for a bit of a delay tonight. You can blame Ben. He's in the chat being a cockhead right now. We might have been demonetized the second I said that. 8 o'clock, unless I say otherwise. Ben, I didn't say otherwise. We're here. We're a little bit early. I'm unprepared. And we're cooking. So let's get into things a little bit tonight. We've got a whole lot to go through. Of course, we're going to go through the Geelong and Richmond game from this weekend. We're going to go around the grounds and look at all the other games that have been played. We've got Q&A, game of the show, and we're going to go through a whole bunch of other bits and pieces as well. Of course, I want to begin by highlighting Post-Game Live. Go check that one out from Saturday night. Went for more than 2 hours. Go check that one. And look, start the stream again. Don't worry, I didn't dox myself, so we're okay tonight. And I don't even care. Like, demonetize, whatever. Who cares? Ben deserves it. So go check out the Post-Game Live. 2 hours long. Lots of you jumping on board for that one. Awesome episode. Go check that out. The match reaction, my breakdown of the Geelong and Richmond game, standalone video, that is live on the YouTube channel as well for everyone to check out, as is Nuff of the Week that went live a few hours ago. I know we're all on board with bringing him to our club only as recently as a couple of weeks ago. Matt Rowell copped Nuff of the Week for me, though, this week because of his very stubborn, defiant bullshit stance against the AFL and the umpires when it comes to umpire contact. So gone for that one. Shadu, let's take a moment before we really launch into the show, and we'll just address this little comment here, me calling him a cockhead and flipping him off. Ben might be top dog, but if I abandon ship, he's fucked. It's all over for him. So let's keep that one in mind. But Shadu, thank you as always. Let's keep stirring the pot. Good fun. All right, let's get into proceedings a little bit here. Ben's mistakes should be enough of the week. And on that note, congratulations, of course, must be given to Jack Bose. It's a shame we won't be able to use this one again now that he's notched up game 50 for the Cats. Jack Bose, 50 games for the Cats. Suck shit, Ben. All right, let's move on to things here and talk about some of the news items before we jump into our match review and go from there. So let's get into the story of the night, and it is this undeserving recipient, not that one, undeserving recipient of the Rising Star this week, Isaac Kako. 17 disposals, 7 score involvements, 5 tackles. Now, give me a moment while I recite some stats from another player this weekend who is also eligible for the Rising Star, because it makes for some pretty ugly reading if you're a representative here of the AFL and those who are determining who is the Rising Star for the weekend. So let me search up our man, George Stevens. George Stevens on the weekend had 21 disposals, besting Isaac Kako's 14. He had 8 clearances. I didn't see anything about Isaac Kako's clearances. Isaac Kako got him when it comes to tackles, 5-3. 2 goal assists to Georgie Boy, and the one that they want to cite here, 7 score involvements to Isaac Kako, 14 to George Stevens. There's almost no data point here that justifies picking Isaac Kako over George Stevens, outside of the fact that this bloke's been playing all season up to this point. Sorry, I mean Isaac Kako. He's been playing all season up to this point, and so I suppose he's maybe got a few more runs on the board, but not. We should be treating it exactly as it lies, play it exactly as it lies, and the person who is deemed best from the round gets the Rising Star nomination. And that is George Stevens, and I'm sure we'll get to do this legitimately at some point, but congratulations, George Stevens, on being the real Rising Star nominee for round 17, 2025. Jam it, AFL. What an absolute joke. That is you can't actually genuinely justify it. And as Amy says, Kako's had other opportunities to just to get nominated. I don't think they tend to get a nomination on debut usually. Have to get a few more games under the belt, but it's a stunning debut. I mean, I feel like it should be, the Rising Star nomination is based on the round. That's why it's a round 17 or around 16 or around 15 nominee. It's not everything up to round 17 nomination. And so for mine, I understand what you're going for, and I do think we kind of see it reflected in the nominations sometimes, but I just think it's wrong. Best player in the week. And if it turns out that there's someone ultra consistent that misses out, so be it. Should have put in a blinder. But that's just kind of my stance on the thing anyway. He's the moral rising star. Look, I agree, but I also don't want to sound like the England cricket team when we go down that path. So you're right, but we won't lean too heavily into it. He's been robbed right in front of us. Kako has been woefully inconsistent all year. So his best game was the preseason game against us. The Flying Viking. So that's Alex. Oh my God, I've gone blank on his surname. But it's spelled Lix. Sorry, Alix. But yeah, the Flying Viking, absolutely love him. He creates some good stuff, and that was an awesome nickname by Kel Toomey. Going back 24 months ago now. You were trying to sound like the England cricket team. Okay, well then that's fine. They like making excuses too. All right, let's consider moving on from here. Ben has stolen an image that we've seen off Instagram today, and I'm going to do a dedicated video about this. So I'm only going to touch on the topic fairly briefly right now. The AFL is considering a mid-season tournament. That'll be like NBA Cup style. Now, I've seen... Kiri, I'm seeing you in the chat right now. And I'm sure there's plenty of others out there who have got, big opinions when it comes to this mid-season trophy that they want to kind of award. I'm already seeing Shadoo's popping in there saying it's a dumb idea. Kiri, I know you've already shared your thoughts online as well. I'm actually okay with it, as much as I'm kind of pushing against, I guess, a lot of you right now. It just really depends on how they want to do it. So my stance is it can't make the season longer. And from the looks of it, I think that's echoing a couple of Shadoo's just mentioned, can't push the season out any longer. I'd agree with that. One of the things I'd heard, and I can't remember who positioned the idea, it would have come from SEN, I'm sure, because they're live all the time. After this was actually announced, was that we've got these 6 extra games. What did we play? 17 opponents. We then push through to round 24. There's, of course, a bye in there. So we've got 6 other matchups for the remainder of the season where teams get doubled up. And this is your opportunity to potentially replace some of those games. Not all. It's probably a month. I saw 2 different ideas kicking around where there was kind of like blocks. There was like a round, then there was like 2 rounds, and there was a few rounds later on or something like that. I hate that idea. That's absolutely ridiculous. But maybe in the heart of July, there's this mid-season competition, and you've got a month. There's 3 matchups, and then somehow it gets whittled down to 2 teams, and they play off for maybe it's 4 matches, whatever it happens to be. Gets whittled down to your top 2. They battle it out. They win some sort of award, some sort of trophy. Of course, I've been hearing about there being some sort of financial thing for them, and I certainly agree with that. If you're going to do it, you've got to kind of incentivize it a little bit. The thing that I do not want anything to do about, and this is where I think the meme here is a good one. There was this idea being floated that if you're the winner, you also get a guaranteed spot in the finals. Not having any of that. I will not have any of that. If you're a lower rung team and you want to go chips in the middle of the season to try and win this thing, by all means. But if you don't win enough games to make the finals, that's it. Bad luck. I do not like the idea of it compromising the finals, which is what everyone genuinely cares about. So I think that's a really stupid idea, that part of it. But otherwise, I'm okay with it. Because honestly, I mean, Kiri, you've just jumped in saying awarding mediocrity. if you happen to be best team at that time, sure, by all means. But if you look at the NBA Cup and the things that have been going on there, it's been won by the Lakers. I can't remember who won it. NBA Cup winners, but they've all been. Let me see. Come on, that's NBA champions. The NBA Cup. The Lakers won it in the first year. I remember that. No, that's right. It was only last year. And the Milwaukee Bucks are the other. Now, they're two teams that have been vying pretty heavily for championships in the last few years. They've got absolutely elite talent all across their roster. So what I would say in those particular cases is that, and we've only got two that we can work with here, but the other teams, by the way, that competed, the Indiana Pacers against the Lakers in 2023 and OKC against the Bucks this year. So, like, all four of those teams are serious competitors. In fact, two of those four have played off in the playoffs of that year, or in the last 2 years. So, I'm okay with how it works, because you don't, like, if you're one of those lower rung teams and you go all chips in and you happen to win it, congratulations, that's awesome. But the reality is, 90 times out of 100, it will be a team that is already vying off for, top four finals. Maybe someone from the bottom half of the eight pinches it from time to time, and that's, maybe, but that's within the grounds of reason, or the realm of reason. But you're not going to see your bottom six pull one out and win it. So I don't mind the idea of that, along with, and I think, roaming's just kind of gone, state v state, or kind of state of origin. I don't mind the idea of, you can have this championship that's also your opportunity for your EJ Witten Legends game. It's also your opportunity for your state of origins and all of those sorts of things as well. There can be this big event where you've kind of got this going on in the background. There's a trophy there, but you've also got some big celebratory things along the way. I think there's some cool things that they can do with this. I think it needs to be workshopped more, and certainly the idea of there being a guaranteed ticket to the finals, that's not on. As far as I'm concerned, there is no way, shape, or form where I could ever accept that as a result. So they're my thoughts on those ones. Going forward, we've also got a milestone that's going to be reached this weekend between Chris Scott and Mitch Duncan. They're set to be involved in the same game as a player and coach for the 298th time. That will be them equaling the current record held by Chris Scott and Tom Hawkins. So congratulations to Mitch Duncan, assuming he plays this weekend. I'd imagine he will. He got a nice rest on the weekend as the sub who didn't get picked or played. I'm sure he's ready to go this weekend for a game against GWS, and congratulations to him and Scotty on a pretty awesome milestone. 300, but to Jackie's point, not another milestone. Not loving the idea that, it's against GWS. We're already struggling a little bit against that team. There you go. So Jackie's highlighted he played in the VFL. Good, because I didn't actually study the VFL on the weekend. Roaming, I didn't mention his name. Come on, let's cool our jets. Didn't mention his name. Spartacus, I see that you're at the gym. I also think I saw in the comment section from one of our shows the other day that you need to get into the Discord. I don't know if that's happened yet, but Ben or someone, if you could drop a link to the Discord in the chat, that would be awesome for Spartacus. You'd be helping out there. I'm watching the comments. Moving on then to our game against the Giants this weekend. The clash strip will be worn. I apparently didn't download that image from Ben. Let me see if I can find it. Apparently I didn't download the image. Let's try that one again. We'll quickly add it in and make some magic. But yeah, Geelong's gonna be wearing its clash strip this weekend. I don't know that it has any significant bearing on anything really. It'll appear in a second. Pow! There's our clash strip that we're going to see, and I don't know. I don't have strong opinions either way. It doesn't faze me in the slightest. And this is where we can get justice for Jed Buse, number 24. Get him out there. He needs to be wearing it. Number 24. Get him out there. Thanks, Pepe the Frog. We love Jed Buse. We hope to see him wearing it this weekend. I think he's a really important player to this team and is starting 23. But how we do it, I have no idea at this particular point. All right. Continue on from there. off topic now. But it's a big subject of conversation today. The podcast world is shaken by the fact that no one is going to be able to listen to more podcasts about the mushroom trials because it's all come to an end. She was guilty. Surprise, surprise. No more podcasts about the mushroom trials. Moving right along. Because my wife's been listening to it constantly. And yeah, we're done. We've had enough. But drop your mushrooms in the chat. All right, let's move on to the rest of the show here, and we can get into some of the results this weekend. Of course, highlighted by Geelong's victory against the Tigers. Let's keep your eyes out for any typos from Ben People. I'm sure he's trying a little bit harder right now to not make mistakes because we are ripping strips off him whenever we can. I'm not spotting anything at the moment, but please let me know if there's something there. The Cats getting the job done, 18-16, 124, beating the Tigers 7-10, 52. We did lose the final quarter by a point. Not much to see there, though. No real concerns. We took the foot off the gas completely and put the cue in the rack. There are some highlights and some points of conversation here. Of course, that begins with some of the late withdrawals from Bailey Smith to Tyson Stengel, and that, of course, giving the opportunity for us to see our boy George Stevens in action. And Jack Bose to play his 50th game. Jeremy Cameron this weekend notched up another big milestone in his career, kicking his 700th. Oh, God. This platform sucks. His 700th AFL goal, and you can see that it's not going to take long before he can jump from 26th on this ladder to 22nd. I'd imagine he's got another 23 goals in him before the season is out at least. So he'll be overtaking Josh Kennedy, and who knows how high up the charts he can go. I also think, and we probably, as people who Geelong fans through and through, probably don't love the idea that he's going to beat our beloved Tom Hawkins. But I think that's quite likely at this particular point that he'll overtake Tom Hawkins, who's sitting on 796 AFL goals at this particular point in time. Now, I only say we don't love it because, of course, Jezza was a giant and he notched up a lot of goals there. We'd love to see him the whole way through. But congratulations to Jezza anyway. It's an awesome milestone. And honestly, I think 900 is on the table. And then after that, really boils down to his longevity. So Jez is still leading the Coleman comprehensively, Shadu. I might quickly bring up... Oh, I accidentally closed a window there. I'll quickly bring up the stats, but he's got quite a lead now last I checked. So Jeremy Cameron is sitting on 52 goals for the season. That is 10 ahead of the next best in Mitch Georgiades and Ben King. Jesse Hogan was second on that, but didn't play on the weekend. And so that's given Jezza a nice little break now over everyone else. So congratulations to Jeremy Cameron on his 700th goal. Awesome that it was set up by Brad Close. You love to see it. George Stevens, our mate, kicked his first AFL goal on the weekend. It was an awesome moment. The whole team got around him. Again, you absolutely love to see it. Also, massive shout out to Brendan. I know Brendan, Bianca, and maybe the whole family. You might all be there right now. I think I saw something, actually. I think I saw an Instagram post. Hang on, let me see if I can find it. Oh, yeah, here we go. Just pre-show, checking out and getting ready for the Paul James show. But saw an awesome video from you guys. Bianca, Declan, I assume you were both there too, making a lot of noise for George Stevens when he got that when he had that shot on goal, and then after he kicked it. It was awesome. Great moment, and it was awesome to see the way the players got around him. Max Holmes put in a pretty blistering effort on the weekend. Get out of here. Put in a pretty blistering effort on the weekend. 36 disposals, covering a lot of ground with a lot of speed. He's going to feature in the votes, no doubt about it. I'm looking to see if I can see Brendan and Bianca and Declan in the chat at all. Maybe you were there earlier on, but yeah, there he is. George will eventually catch Jezza. Give him a full season, he'd win the Rising Star. Coleman, Brownlow, and Norm Smith. I'm all for it. And you are there. Yeah, please, everyone, go check out the video. It's been all over socials. The moment that Georgie Boy kicked that debut goal. So awesome. Some other highlights from the game. Paddy Dangerfield with a very long bomb that unfortunately, and this is someone obviously who's been lobbying pretty hard for Ollie Henry over the course of the year. Unfortunately, it sailed just a little bit over Ollie's hands and he would have been able to get a second goal in the game. But it resulted in a very cool long bomb goal from Paddy Dangerfield. Kicked it from the wing, bounced all the way through for a goal. And it was described as brilliant if he meant it. He meant it. He meant it. His eyes would have lit up and went charging into goal. Salty dog tears when Geelong wins the grand final. There's leave the brown loader Baz. We need those salty dog tears. Yeah. I am Ollie sucks staying. Oh, sorry, Ollie. I thought you were talking about George for a split second. I don't know. I think he put in a pretty solid performance on the weekend. It wasn't a 10 out of 10 game by any stretch. I think it was a solid 6. But he took the opportunities that came his way, some good marks, but it is going to be really, really difficult for him to hold onto his spot, given the talent that's got to come back. George Stevens has made a really great case to remain in the team. But of course, then you've got to be talking about Bailey Smith coming back. You're going to be talking about Tyson Stengel coming back. In a week or so, Sam de Koning should be back as well. It's going to be, it's a great problem to have, of course, but it's going to be a massive squeeze on positions. And I see no reason why George Stevens shouldn't remain in there, which makes it all the bit harder for him and many other players right now. One other point, it's a sadder note from the game. Richmond's Sam Laylor, who did his hammy pretty early on in the game. It was the first few minutes of the match. The number 1 draft pick. He's not having a good run of it. There's been some accusations that maybe he's not fit enough. I don't know if I buy into that, but he's probably not match fit because he's kind of had so much downtime. I reckon they just need to put him on ice, get a good preseason block under him, and go again for season 2026. Shadu asks, would you say Ollie is out this week? Oh. I mean, at face value, you say yes. And sorry, actually, yeah, to Shadu's point, also the other point, you see Danger go over to Laylor. That was all class. Absolutely all class. And Jackie says Laylor needs calves blood, just like Maxi Rook. It's going to be really tricky. So we've got a highly talented Giants team. We've got 4 players that, in my mind, we need to find a way to get back in the team over the course of not just this week, but the next few weeks. 2 of those are definitely, or 3 of those, I should say, are definitely available this week. Oh, definitely is maybe a bit much, but Bailey Smith was unwell, so he should be right to go. Tyson Stengel presumably is right to go, but there was a family thing. Depends on how long, I guess, it takes to get through whatever that scenario is. And we wish Tyson and all of his family the very, very best with whatever it is that they're facing at the moment. You've also got, as Roaming will say, Jed Buse. Jed needs to be back in the team. I think he's a very important matchup for someone like Toby Green. I think he needs to come back in. And if we just focus on those 3 for now, because there is also Sam de Koning in a couple of weeks as well, it makes it really hard for the likes of Mitch Duncan, the likes of Ollie Henry, the likes of George Stevens, who've just obviously gotten a debut and done an amazing job. But it's going to be very, very hard to hold your place when those 3 are coming back, because those 3 are walk-up starts as far as I'm concerned. So then it's like, how do you shuffle the pieces? And that's going to be a really difficult one. So I'm just quickly bringing up the lineup from the weekend in case there's someone I'm forgetting. Jack Bowes is probably at risk, but he didn't hurt his chances at all with his effort on the weekend. I thought he played a really good game. Jack Bowes is probably another one that's at risk. Jack Martin is probably going to remain on the fringe for a little while, but he played a really good game on the weekend. This is a great problem to have. I just think, and Sparlock, you've just jumped in here talking about Jed, and it's sad how he don't know how he gets a spot. I don't know how he gets a spot either, but I feel like it is essential that he's in there for your likes of Toby Green, for your Charlie Camerons, for those highly skilled, highly talented, very game aware small forwards. And we've got to deal with at least one of them this week in Toby Green. So I'd like to see him back, but yeah, it's a tricky one. I don't see how he gets back at the moment. It feels like he's on the outs, and that Kiri, you've perfectly said here that he's here for depth. I don't know. I just think strategically he's a must, but I don't know how we make it happen. All right, continuing on from there, some key stats here. We had 10 individual goal kickers on the weekend. Tom Atkins with 17 tackles. He had 12 of them halfway through the second quarter. Ben Harris has just popped in talking about the blue jumper this weekend. This one. Oh, you stupid platform. God damn that one. The alternate strip we were talking about before. So, Ben, we need to cut our losses. Let's get away from this trash. Anyway. And that takes us to the ladder. And where Geelong is placed right now, we are no, Ben, you've got your show notes out of order. Come on, sort your shit out. The ladder we'll deal with shortly. We've got the coaches' votes that we'll look at. Next up, Geelong and Richmond, Jeremy Cameron with the 9, Zach Guthrie with 8, Max Holmes with 6, Graham Myers with 5, Jack Martin and Tom Atkins both with 1 each. Clean sweep. Wouldn't have expected any other way. I honestly can't think of a Richmond player that would have come even close to the top half a dozen that we can see here on the ground. There were some players doing a good job. Sam says, let's talk about George Stevens more. We can continue to talk about how robbed he was with the Rising Star, if you like. We can keep the image pinned to the screen. We'll just do it for the next 20 minutes. No votes for George. It's insane. 14 score involvements, 8 clearances, 21 disposals. I could understand how maybe the opposition coach didn't recognize him, didn't know him, so you don't know who you're picking. But Scotty, you did our boy dirty, mate. All right, let's continue on, and yeah, we'll keep this pinned to the screen for a while now. So our next 4 games, we've got GWS at Energy Stadium. That is the big one. That is the one that we've been talking about for a while. That is the one big major challenge for the remainder of the season. Though don't sleep on Sydney. Sydney are up and about. They may not be able to make the finals. I think if they lose even one more game for the season, it's over. Based on a lot of the combinations and permutations and whatnot that are going on. But they're a dangerous team. But GWS is the big one as a fellow top 8 contender. At Energy Stadium, we need to get some revenge for the loss at GMHBA earlier this year. Let's hopefully we can bank a win, because after that, it should be a smoother run to the finals. St Kilda at GMHBA, North Melbourne at Marvel, Port Adelaide at GMHBA round out our next 4 matches. Around the grounds, like I said, I'm going to keep this image pinned to the screen, so I'm not going to bring up the scores for everyone to see, but we'll talk about the scores as they played out. And for the most part, this round went exactly as people had predicted it. I got the 9. I assume most of you did too. But the Bulldogs winning to the tune of 49 points against North. North put up a good fight in the end. And it was only kind of we were talking about it during the Paul James show on Thursday night. Lucas has popped in. Looking forward to chatting to you all about games and stuff shortly too. We've still got to do game of the show later on. And it's a big one. You're a JRPG fan, and I've got a big JRPG that I want to talk about today. It is an iconic and memorable day in video game history. So the Dogs won by 49 points. The Pies smacked the Blues to the tune of 56, and the walls on that joint are about to fall off. GWS won by 59 points against the Eagles. The Suns won by 41. Again, the Bombers put up a decent fight, and the Suns didn't necessarily push their hardest until a little bit late, and then pulled away. Ben dared to send me a message the other day that said that I'm being absolutely smoked by him in the footy tips. And I was like, oh shit, what's going on here? What's Ben done lately? What's the system resulted in? He's in front by 1 tip. Just 1 tip. Just the tip. To you, Ben. We've, of course, spoken about the Cats. Cats by 72 points against the Tigers. Brisbane beat out Port Adelaide by 28 points. Port put up a good fight as well. St Kilda put up a pretty good fight against the Hawks, but the Hawks won by 20 points. The one that if you were going to get a tip wrong on the weekend, it was probably this one. Sydney beat Freo by 11 points at the SCG. Get out of there, Ben. And then the D's also gave the Crows a bit of a scare, but the Crows won out by 13 points. Just the tip with Jack Henry. That's a content dream. If we can get him on for a tipping show at some point, you'll have no idea what's going on. And I couldn't possibly call him foreskin on the show. But it'd be huge. The jokes write themselves. All right. So let's Brendan comment of the year. That's right up there. There's a pizza. Just oh my god. Whew, and now we're getting some that's what she said jokes as well. That's what she said. Office style. So that is the round, and that takes us now to the ladder. We'll project that one, and we'll get this show back on track. AFL ladder. In the immortal words of NBA Jam, a little bit of boom shakalaka. There we go. Oh my god, where's my foreskin with Jack Henry? It's good shit. It's real good shit. All right, the ladder. Not a lot of movement at the absolute top end. In fact, the whole top 8 really not a lot of movement at all. Though Freo have fallen out of the 8 with their loss to the Swans. The Swans within reach. But they, as I said before, they are going to have to win every single game between here and the end of the season. That includes a game against us. One loss, and my understanding is it is basically over for them. But they are going to play in some really important games for the remainder of the year. More shit falling over at my desk. More on that shortly. You said you had... Hang on. You said you have a ladder. Let me see. Oh, there it is. All right. Ben just does a dump of graphics and then expects me to use them all because he needs a little bit of a pat on the back. He's a bit precious, that bloke. So we'll bring up Ben's little ladder, so he doesn't have a cry in the chat. We want to protect his feelings. It's 2024. Everyone's feelings matter. And so we'll bring up our image here, the top 8. Waiting for it to appear. There we go, Ben. Beautiful. Everyone in the comments, make sure to send your love to Ben for his ladder. He's put in a lot of effort. It wasn't something that I was able to pull from the AFL site in just a matter of a few seconds. But he put in a lot of effort. Everyone clap for Ben. Pat on the back, says roaming. Shit, I'm having a good time. So that is the ladder. And now we'll cast night. I'm going to keep this up on the screen. Ben has highlighted 17 games that are going to shape the top 8 for the rest of the season. Now, I think there's more to it than that. I mentioned Sydney before, and I think they're a real threat to a lot of teams right now. There we go, Ben. Lots of applause for Ben. Lots of clapping. We all love Ben, except for when he's, doing Jack Bose dirty. Were there any typos in this? Did we check? Yeah, he's okay. Oh, I need to check something. There's a tweet that I need to check. I apologize. This is one of those ones that I feel compelled to. Oh my god, I nearly threw up in my mouth, but we'll talk about that later. There we go. There is a typo. Hawthorn is spelt wrong. It's piss and poo. I'm seeing something that's just cut through me like a knife. All right, let's talk about the remaining games that will shape the 8 according to Benjamin. These are all involved teams that are currently in the top 9, vying for a spot in the top 8. Again, I think there's some Sydney games that are really relevant, but stay tuned for a video I'm going to put up in the next couple of days, which is going to be my predictions for every game for the remainder of the season so that we can visualize what that top 8 will look like, or at least what I visualize that top 8 will look like. So those games, Gold Coast versus Collingwood, Bulldogs versus Adelaide, GWS will be playing Geelong. That's obviously this week. In fact, a lot of these games are this weekend. There's some big matchups this weekend. Good luck for your tipping this week. Fremantle versus Hawthorn, Brisbane versus the Bulldogs, Collingwood versus Fremantle, Adelaide versus Gold Coast versus Brisbane, Bulldogs versus GWS, Adelaide versus Hawthorn, Collingwood versus Brisbane, Hawthorn and Collingwood, Fremantle and Brisbane, Gold Coast and GWS, Adelaide and Collingwood, the Bulldogs and Fremantle, and Brisbane and Hawthorn round it all out. Sam says, and I do agree, if we win this week, we are kind of guaranteed top 4 or top 2. I would say if we win this weekend, top 2, you can now lock it in because this is the contentious one. This is the one where we could potentially blow it and give ourselves a bit of a gap between us and Brisbane or us and Adelaide that we need to chase down. It's not insurmountable. Those two teams have pretty difficult runs. But if we win it, they'll drop one somewhere along the way. And I think we'll hold on to a top 2 spot in a home final. So it'll be good. Well, probably not a home final, probably an MCG final. Has anyone seen the stats that no one has won the granny from 4th in the current setup? We want to be top 3, preferably top 2. The 4th one, it's been this weird mystical number for a little while that's been kind of causing some issues for us. Our final thing here before we move into our sponsor and then Q&A is the VFL. The Cats went down by 5 points to the Tigers. Unfortunately, they got chased down in that final quarter. The Cats were putting together a pretty good game up to 3-quarter time. Ted Closey led the way for the Cats, 34 disposals and 10 tackles. Mitch Nevitt, 22 and 7. And Jay Polkinghorne, 4 goals. Really displaying some awesome stuff for the Cats. So stay tuned. Surely, actually I won't say surely. I don't feel like he'll get his debut this season, but maybe next year, big breakout moment for Jay Polkinghorne. He's been nothing if not consistent all year this year. It's been really good to see. All right. Before we get into Q&A, before we get into game of the show, we need to take a word from our sponsor, Cyril Cook Florist. Drop those flower emojis, please.
The Hoops Crew Media Network is proudly sponsored by Cyril Cook Florist. Visit them at shop 1211 Leather Street in Breakwater. Phone them on 035 222 2244 or visit their website at www.cyrilcookflorist.com.au and use the offer code GOCATS in the voucher field at checkout to get 20% off your next online purchase.
Thank you, Cyril Cook Florist, as always, for your ongoing support of the Hoops Crew and all we get up to. I'm just trying to process the news that I've been delivered in a message, and if it's true, I might cry. But we'll deal with that when we do the game of the show shortly. Oh my God. Thank you for the flower emojis. Thank you, Cyril Cook Florist, as always. Polkinghorne is going to be a gun, 100%. Pearl James. All right. Q&A time. Now we've got, I'm sure, lots of thoughts and ideas coming from the community, but we've got some conversation starters here that Ben has provided. We've already discussed the first one. Will George Stevens retain his spot next week? Will he? So we've got at least 2 to come in, Bailey Smith and Tyson Stengel, assuming Tyson Stengel is available. Will George Stevens remain in the team in lieu of those 2 coming back? It's not bad Cats news. No, it's video game news. It'll kill me. It'll absolutely kill me if the thing's true. But, it's all right. No, more on it because part of it links to my game of the show anyway. So it's a curveball that I was not expecting. George Stevens. It's George's team now, says Brendan. George Stevens stays in. Drop your turtles in the chat for the turtle without the shell, Paul. No Mario Kart World. No Mario Kart World. Stay on target, Ben says. Trying. What's the biggest threat to Geelong's top 4 chances in the next month? GWS this weekend, as far as I'm concerned. As far as I'm concerned, it's GWS. If we blow that one, we do put ourselves at risk. But if we win, we can almost lock down that top 2, as far as I'm concerned. I couldn't care less if GTA 6 was cancelled, to be honest. Thank you. Thank you, Membry Owns You, for the super chat. Hey, guys, can't wait to play for you guys next year. Tim Membry playing for the Cats? But thank you for the super chat. Much appreciated. Injuries and playing at GMHBA is the biggest dangers for the Cats. Next one. How has Chris Scott evolved as a coach over his 350 games? That's a really great one. That's a really fascinating question. How has Chris Scott evolved over the course of the years? Well, I think it's really reflective, in my mind, it's really reflective of just the team makeup in the first place. He had to, overhaul that list, and he's had to change that list. He's had to develop his own from scratch. I know everyone says, I got gifted an amazing list. And he did get gifted an amazing list, but he still had to take him to a flag. He did that. And then over the years, we saw the old hands start to get retired, or they'd moved on to a different club because they didn't want to be retired. I think a lot of, and then as a result of the new personnel coming through and the skill sets that they possessed, he's had to evolve the game plan. We've become a very fast team as opposed to that slow chipping team. That slow chipping methodical team that we tried to go with for quite a few years. He had to evolve, and he did, and he took us to a premiership in 2022. And geez, we're coming close to winning one this year as well. Question 4. Which young player has shown the most improvement this season? I mean, I think that goes without saying, right? Connor O'Sullivan. But you could, George off the back of one game. The coach has gotten sexier. Tim Membry's a spud. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't quite understand it. Membry Owns You, but thank you for your $2. Jackie says also in regards to Chris Scott, I think he's become an amazing leader. He's the type of leader I would love to work for. 100%. Whether that is at the Geelong Football Club or under him at Morris Finance, I'm okay with it. Scotty's always been pretty dynamic. Likes moving his chess pieces on the board, but Fagan is his anathema. Grins, about 50 in the chat, only 15 likes. Please drop a like on this video if you're watching it now, and even if you're watching it after the fact, drop a like on the video. Helps get the word out there about all the stuff we're creating. Kiri there, O'Sullivan will lock him up come final. Oh, sorry, that's Membry. Right. Time to get that Spud Ford Neil out of the team. It's good to have you here. Again, we'll take your dollars. But let's I need to go check some stats for a second. I don't want to shoot from the hip here without getting my data right. So there's oh damn it, that's not what I want to do. Stupid thing. So let's compare the pair a little bit here. Tim Membry at age 31 versus Shannon Neal at age 22. What is the output this year? They've kicked the same number of goals this year. Tim Membry's kicked 22, as has Shannon Neal. But let's take a look at some other metrics maybe. What I want to check for, if it will allow me, are things like goal assists or score involvements. But key stats, scoring, goal assists, which one's which? Shannon Neal leads that one. Accuracy on goal, Shannon Neal leads that one. Score involvements, they're both above average in that regard, but Tim Membry's leading that one. Score launches, Shannon Neal leads that one. In fact, Tim Membry's below average. Fucking Lucas. What is wrong with you? Get out of here. Chat, good work taken on this bloke. Anyway, but the data doesn't lie. Tim Membry, you're a hack. All right. Unless you're actually Tim Membry there, at which point, salute, you're a great player. You've done good things, but get out of here. It's Shannon Neal's time, mate. Should Jack Martin be played more in the midfield is Ben's next question here. And that is an interesting one. Obviously, we've seen him off half back a little bit. Membry is Lucas's burner account. We've seen him off half back. He's kind of floated forward. He's got the skill set up forward. That's where he spent a lot of his time early days. It's nice that we're not the Retirement Village Club anymore. Tim is from the Retirement Village Club. Jack Martin off halfback through the midfield. Look, I think the greatest thing that for him right now is that he is Membry's post-game live Scotty. Please. I'd love it if it's Scotty. Could be. Can't rule it out. Scotty's a good bloke, though. He's good fun. Scotty's burner 100%. Cal Toomey was saying how the Chris Army knife, like the Swiss Army knife, right? Has found a good spot for Martin. Yeah, I mean, look, he's pretty versatile. So, who goes out if Stevens, Smith, and Stengel stay in, or if those two come in? Jack Bose. And does Jack Martin get a rest? To that particular point that we're talking about, does Jack Martin maybe get a rest and just his management, load management, build him back up? Do we see? No. Yeah, I feel like that might be the move. But I could also see Mitch Duncan coming out too. Lucas, Tim Membry is a sneaky Brownlow chance. Just put your house on it and you can't lose. Duncan and Martin, Jackie suggested. Duncan Grins has said Duncan as well. You got a hiding from the post-game live chat this weekend. Oh, did he? I have to go watch post-game live then. Blitz needs to dress as a Swiss Army knife for Wacky Wednesday. It's fair. I think I like the idea of him kind of being that versatile, move him around sort of player. And he can be useful in the midfield. He can be useful off halfback. But, yeah, anyway. What role should Mitch Nevitt play if promoted from the VFL? I'm happy for him to be that wingman. He's done a pretty, like his games this year, he's done a pretty solid job. It's just that there's a queue of players who've been doing a better job. His most recent game, I think, for the Cats was a pretty damn good one, statistically speaking, and the eye test has been really good on a lot of his football so far this year as well. He hasn't, made this explosion like George Stevens has, or Connor O'Sullivan has, but I think he's been playing pretty good football. I think, like Kiri says, the wing. Is there a place for Mitch Nevitt in the AFL team now? Not in season 2025. Not in 2025. But 2026 and beyond, yeah, I think there's still room. As your Mitch Duncans retire, I think that creates gaps. How does Geelong's season compare to the 2022 premiership winning seasons? Well, we'll have to wait and see, because this whole post-bye period, Geelong didn't lose a game, and maybe that's the case for us this year, but it's pretty early days. I'm on board for the Stevens Coliseum. We just have to look after the bloke. Give him a bit of game time through the VFL. It still did the job. He got a run. It's fine. Will Jimmy Ricard ask, will Polkinghorne debut this season? No, I don't think so. He's doing a great job. I think he'll continue to develop, build up his body, and get his opportunity sometime next year. Are there current Geelong players in our all-time best 22? So, of our current list, this is a good one, Ben. Are there current Geelong players on our list right now that would be part of the best 22 the club has ever fielded? Paddy Dangerfield's obviously one of them. Jeremy Cameron, I would say. Oh, I've just blown up the show notes. Jeremy Cameron, I also would say, is another one. Now, he's not going to play centre half forward. I feel like you've got. It's an interesting one. Gary Senior obviously belongs in that forward line. But does he have to be the full forward? I think Gary Senior could be the forward pocket and still play that ridiculously dynamic role that we knew he played. I think he could be listed as a full forward and play the tall and small. He's so versatile. He's so athletic. He was so good on the ground. I think he could play that role. Tom Hawkins can be full forward. You've then got a few options when it comes to centre half forwards, but Jeremy Cameron absolutely is in that conversation. The only query is, would we want to count him because he's played less than half his career for the Cats? I think that's about the only sticking point there. Otherwise, I think he finds a spot. Paddy Dangerfield, obviously. Tom Stewart will be there or thereabouts as well. And George Stevens, of course. George Stevens, future best 22. Brendan asks, does George Stevens take over as coach after Scotty retires? Is it too early to name George in our best 22? He's going to be the next Cotton On CEO. Max Holmes could feature in that. Bailey Smith could feature in that. There's so many options right now. Geez, we've got a blessing of some incredible riches at the Cats. Here we go. Our final Q&A question from Ben tonight before we get into game of the show. This is one without notice. I didn't read the show notes well enough to check this one out. Who are the top 3 dickheads in the AFL right now? Who are the top 3 and I'm not going to render my thoughts right away. But who are the top 3 dickheads in the AFL? And that could be on field or off, just to be clear. We could be including players as well. Who are the top 3 dickheads in the AFL right now? And I reckon I could count to... Yes, Roaming. Roaming's nailed it. Jack Ginnivan and the Wizard Watson tied for first. That's fair. I'd put the Wizard in there. I feel like Ginnivan's just dialed things back a little bit. Of course, we don't mention this individual's name, but also there's someone on our list who might fit that category, depending on what the courts have to say. Kane Corns, I'm surprised no one has referenced Kane Corns yet. King Henry season. Surely Ollie Henry gets all-time list. It's got to be Scotty. It's got to be you, Scotty. But anyway, thank you for the $2. Caro, of course, belongs up there as well. Some awesome suggestions. And here we go. And this is a nice throwback to Kane Corns. I've already had a crack at Kane Corns through Enough of the Week about this last year, but just a reminder that the Asava Radaglia trade netted us Mitch Edwards, George Stevens, and Lawson Humphreys. Up yours, Kane Corns. Al Clarkson belongs there. Geez, narrowing it down to just 3. 3. Why did Ben, why did you choose 3? 3 is very restrictive. All right. It's time for game of the show. It's time for me to both be absolutely delighted and, based on some news potentially emerging, simultaneously crushed. Oh, good one. The whole Hawthorn Football Club. That fits one. That's one spot on the list. You can fit a football club in there. We've still got graphics popping up. I don't know if George... we've still got Ben's ladder. Get out of here. Today, July the 7th, is the 25th anniversary of what I consider to be the greatest video game ever made. That is Final Fantasy... damn it, Final Fantasy 9. David King, good choice. Final Fantasy 9 is the best game ever made as far as I'm concerned. I put together an article this morning that I would love if people checked out, and I'll drop the link here in the chat for people to check out. Please consider doing it. This was a very important game in my life when it came out, just in terms of like the themes and storytelling that went down. But Final Fantasy 9 turns 25 years old today. And there's been reports for now quite some time about a remake. And this is a video that got put up this morning by Square Enix, the publisher of the game. just celebrating the 25th anniversary. Now, the rumors there of the remake, nothing has popped up yet. I'm going to talk about the horrifying news, or rumor, I should say, in a moment. But let's just take a moment to bask in a 25-year-old video game that to this day is still the best of all time as far as I'm concerned.
A voice from the past, joining yours and mine, adding up the layers of harmony. And so it goes on and on. Melodies of life to the sky beyond the flying bird, forever and beyond.
The greatest game ever made as far as I'm concerned. And so I'm going to find the tweet that has put the fear of God through me tonight. Who posted it? Stealth 40k. Who I've just learned apparently follows me. Getting my screen sharing going. This bloke, Nate the Hate, is one of the most informed leakers in the industry, and has popped up today. Now, ignore the time thing because it'll be whatever time zone this person screenshotted in. As of the last check, it remains in development to my knowledge, but I need to do a fresh check to see what the current status is, as I did hear a month or so ago that it was in trouble and possibly cancelled. I only had one source on the cancellation possibility and need to verify the info further. I would die. This thing has been rumored for years and felt like an inevitability. And it would kill me if this thing died on the vine. But as Shawnee says, bring on that remake. Morty, I've got a wife that I love very much. And there's not enough Paul to share around, so I apologize. You also say I love Seinfeld. I can't remember if I've mentioned this on the show, but I love Seinfeld now. 2025 is the first time I've watched Seinfeld properly. Like, I've seen fleeting bits here and there, but like, I hadn't committed properly to Seinfeld, and I did this year, and I absolutely love it. I'm also going to find, actually, it's just now that we're talking about Seinfeld, Chris Reagan, one of my favorite people on the internet, put up an amazing, just since we're making Seinfeld references now, put together an amazing tweet the other day, and I'm sure I need to find it. Oh my God, he's been a bit busy in the last little while, has he? There was an epic quote tweet. I lost my mind. It was so funny. But where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Oh no, I can't find it. It was Kramer with the red lights in his face. Oh. I'm going to dive into my various chats and see if I can find the tweet, because I was in stitches. He was taking the piss out of the White House and something that, but I don't think I'm going to be able to find it. Anyway, so yeah, apologies. Gary, what has this got to do with the hoops? You're right, it's not got anything to do with the hoops, but it's the Paul James show. The Paul James experience is video games as well as football. And that's why we save it to the end. That's why we save it to the end of the show, so that it's not getting in the way of the hard-hitting topics that people are here for. We've been going for 50 plus minutes before we jumped into game of the show. So please don't hesitate to scroll back and check out all that stuff if you're looking for it as well. All right. Paul James' head is too big to fit through the hoops. Salem the cat. Think Tom Stewart is washed for me, slowing down. You're having a bit of fun with the super chats. Whoever you are that's now changed your account details on a few occasions. We might keep this show going for another 5 minutes and see if you're able to quickly swap your profile picture and change your name again, and then drop another $2 in. Just keep going. It's fine. But no, Tom Stewart is. He's absolutely hitting his straps at the moment. It feels like he's getting back to his best. Jackie, you could be right. Maybe it's Telstra, but Telstra in this case, you're not spamming like in the stupid ways you normally would, and you've tossed us $6 already. So thank you. Maybe 8, maybe 10. Sorry, Sam. Can we talk about Stewart? You're so concerned. Why are you concerned? I feel like Tom Stewart's really starting to find some of his best form again at the moment. Concerned he's going to be too good. I'm trying to find, it was a thing from the White House. I need to find this tweet. It was so good. Maybe it's just a reply. Maybe that's why I didn't see it. Maybe it was a reply. Come on, please. Please. Nah. He must have deleted the tweet for some reason. Which would be extremely disappointing because it was a work of art. It was basically like the White House was kind of lit up in red, white, and blue. And then he quote tweeted a picture that was of Kramer in getting blinded by the red light. Amazing. Sam suggests he seems so stiff and has no mobility. Some age quick must be aggravated example of aging. No, I don't see that at all. I'm not saying that at all at the moment. I feel like he's trending upwards. He had to work out of as Shadu says, he's working out of a tough patch and he's been looking better recently. I think he's absolutely finding form at the right time of the season. Sam says we need him to be playing his best to win the grand final, 100%. But I've got no concerns about him whatsoever. Gary's right. Wouldn't want to go in the finals without Tom. But I think, obviously, touch wood, don't want an injury now. But I think he's doing all of the right things at the moment. I'm not concerned at all. I think he's doing all the right things, and he's finding form, and he's finding fitness, and he's coming good at all the right times. What else have we got here? Sully's playing a lot of Stewie's role at the moment. He seems confused. I think there's some. No, I don't really buy into that. I think there's probably been a bit of adjustment as Tom Stewart starts to come back and starts to regain his form, that some of the other blokes are going, okay, but this was my role before, and now what do? I think there's shuffling of the deck a little bit. It's kind of the Dangerfield in going to the forward line sort of problem again. Amy's another one that thinks Tom Stewart's getting back to his best. Yeah, I'm not at all concerned about him at the moment. George Stevens wouldn't need 99 men to take down a gorilla. Roaming says Tom to be dropped. Good grief. 100 gorillas versus George Stevens. My money's on George. Roaming says, Roaming says, oh, geez. Oh, hang on. Spartacus just missed, doing a dodgy quote for Lucas. Tom Stewart is Deadwood, and I'm going to chop him out. Roaming says Q&A when Xbox will go bankrupt. They won't, because they're owned by Microsoft. So they'll always be relevant. Who goes out for Stengel, Smith, and SDK? Free coach Lucas. Boring without him. There we go. It's Scotty. Scotty's there. Love to see you, mate. But yeah, who goes out for Stengel, Smith, and SDK? Bose, Duncan, and Ollie Henry, as much as I don't like it. Xbox did kill off some studios recently. And we spoke about that in great detail on Thursday night's show. But it was it's rough, but they're never going to go bankrupt. Microsoft posted the greatest profits they've ever had. It was like $88 billion last year. Post-game live, Scotty, you can be yourself here. We love you. Yeah, we know Scotty's. I mean, remember that it wasn't that long ago that we had an absolutely chaotic episode of this show with Scotty and Lucas piling in there all at once. It was the first time we'd opened up the show to others to jump into, and it was absolute carnage, and I wouldn't have had it any other way. It was good stuff. So Scotty, you be yourself, but also you've donated $8 so far. So if you want to drop 2 more just to round it all out, that'd be great. Spartacus says George Stevens could bench press me at the gym. I think there's a few people that would let George Stevens do anything to them right now. Roaming says the best Paul James show ever. Are you talking about the one with Lucas and Scotty? Because yeah, it was something else. It was huge. Just keeping an eye on the internet to see if anything bobs up. This Final Fantasy 9 thing is tearing at me right now. Sam says, Gary says also, I agree with Ollie, but not Bose. I mean, look, I'm not saying they're necessarily the choices I would make, because also if I had my way, Jed Buse would be in the team. But I just think that's probably where we're at. Lucas says he was on Scott's show the other day, the Jumper Punch. We had fun. Yeah, if people haven't seen it, and if you're not a part of our Discord channel already, there's no cost. It's a totally free service to get in on. It's our community space where we can everyone chats constantly. Lucas was on Scotty's show. Scotty shared a clip there in the Promote Your Stuff section, and it was awesome to see Lucas. You did a great job, mate. It was great to see you there, and I love any Hoops Crew or Hoops Crew adjacent collaborations. I wish I had some time to do more of those myself. I know Pommy sent me a message the other day and asked what I was doing at 8:00 on Monday night. Here I am. Sorry, Pommy. I would have loved to have been on your show. But yeah, I've got my own. So hopefully I can collaborate a bit with him more. That's one of the things I want to kind of find some more time to do is some more collaborations. I am currently at a juncture when it comes to my full-time work at the moment. And depending on the choice I make, I might get more time. I might get more time to focus on non-school related things, which will allow me to do more Hoops Crew things and potentially more collaborations. Ben says, bring back the George card. Boom, there it is. This shitty platform. Let's remove it from the studio and we'll bring it back. Ben, it's time to cut the cord. You got your own show that's better than Ben's. I do. I'm better than Ben. Oh, come on. Just work, you turd. There we go. Well, it went a lot better than when you were on Terry's. Yeah, Terry's was a bit of a train wreck. They didn't like you, did they? Oh, should it? Yeah, there we go. They didn't like you on Blue Abroad. We're changing the name of this show to the Ben Reeve Friends Show. No chance. Stephen did his ACL at 26 years old, missed a heap of footy, if not the ACL pick under 15. You mean at 16 years old. people keep talking about recruiting all these great midfielders. Why? The last thing we need is more bloody mids. No, I wouldn't go that far, but I think we need to be really selective about the mids that we choose. I think we need to be really mindful of versatility. So, for example, why I reckon that Harley Reid should enjoy doing the kids' bedtime. There's a good chance by the time you return, the show will be done for the night. So it's been awesome to have you on board as always. Chat soon, mate. But going back to Gary's point, it's why I think Harley Reid's a good one, because he can play mid, absolutely. He can also play deep forward in like a Dusty sort of role, and we can make that work because we can shuffle the pieces around to ensure that we've still got a gun midfield at all times. But there's others that are dedicated mids that I wouldn't be as crazy about. So anyway, but when we get people like George Stevens pop through and really flourish, you start to question whether we need to go chasing another mid, because you've got them right here in your backyard. I don't know if it's coming through the mic. My dogs have just gotten quite upset. Someone's letting off fireworks. Stopped. But yeah, that's that one. So 9 months from now, watch the name George start to boom. The only way Steven stays in if Martin gets managed, possibly. What happened to my West Indies versus Australia post-game live show? You can blame Ben for that one. He was very, very vague in his... I like blaming Ben, but he was pretty vague in what his plan actually was, and apparently he wanted me to run that stream, whereas I had other plans entirely. And I thought he was stepping up to do it because he wasn't going to be doing the normal post-game live because we didn't have a match that weekend. Not to be. Bit of a miscommunication, but blame Ben. When in doubt, blame Ben. Spudica says, sorry, I was celebrating 4th of July late. Roving says he'll show up for cricket streams. Yeah, I think we'll probably do a few... post-game lives through the cricket season. We could maybe do some after the tests. We could do some after some BBL matches. I think there could be a bit of fun there. I also, and I've spoken about this, I want to do some game streams over the Christmas holiday period, and I'm sure the numbers won't be as big as what we have when it comes to, and our numbers across the board won't be as big as what we're used to when it comes to our footy content, but that's, the footy content is our bread and butter. Anything else is all secondary. And I'd like to have that sort of opportunity to chat with all of you guys over the break. So Ben says second channel needed. I say it's seasonal content. Yes, we'll be doing them after Stars games. Get around the Stars. Gee, I stay up to 6 a.m. ready to do it, and I get shafted, Ben. He was actually planning on doing it at 8 p.m. anyway. It wasn't going to be that night. It was going to be like well after. But anyway. But you can blame Ben. All right. So from there, we are pretty much done. We need an extended vid for a 1 hour talk purely on Stevens. He's got 2 mins of talk. No, we've spoken a lot more about George Stevens throughout the night. Come on. Lucas asked Terry to do it with you. I'm sure he's keen as anyone to do it, especially to work with you. Paul's dog is a menace. Will never hold the title of official pet of the Hoops crew. Mate, what's Pumpkin done lately? Please tell me that nothing's happened to Pumpkin. But, what's Pumpkin done lately? Hang on. Oh, both dogs have stuck in. All right. Now, of course, we've spoken. We've spoken about Barkley before. Official dog of the Hoops crew. He's a little legend. We love him. But what I don't think I've done in any content so far I'll get rid of this blasphemy at the bottom of the screen. What I don't think we've done is bring his new best friend along. So here's Goldie, everyone. Little miniature dachshund. She's a gorgeous little thing. I can't bring my fat guts Willow cat out here right now. Grab some toys off the shelf and play. No chance. Oh, get this shit out of here for her. But anyway, Goldie and Barkley. Oh, come on. Come here. I've only got one arm. Both of them together. Best friends already. And making a little live stream spot tonight. So sorry, Lucas. What? Hi, Olive. I hope you're enjoying the puppies on the screen. Your mum threatened to get naked. Wild stuff. All right, come on, you two. Oh. All right. No threads pulled on my jumper. Nice. And on that note, we will wrap things up for the show. It's been a pleasure, as always, to have you on board. What I want to see every single one of you do right now is drop some Final Fantasy 9 love in the chat. We need to will this thing into existence. Even if you're not video game people, please make it happen. Please help me to make it happen. Just search Final Fantasy 9 on Twitter right now. It is going absolutely wild. And it just needs to happen. I need to wake up and find that this is a reality. I can't accept a reality where this remake doesn't happen. Oh, all of you. Jesus. All right. We'll bring that back as we wrap it up. What's your finals fantasy? Cats winning the flag. Simple as that. Thanks, Scotty, for the super chats. Yeah, Cats winning the flag, of course. All right. That's where we're going to wrap things up for the night. Thank you all, as always, for having tuned in. It's been great to have you here. Massive shout out to the real Rising Star nominee of this week, George Stevens. Did anyone mention George Stevens? Sorry. We'll wrap things up there. Did I get rid of my show notes? There they are. Please make sure, if you haven't already done so, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Tell your friends and family. Get the word out there about all things Hoops Crew, all the content we're creating. Thank you all for helping to make it a reality through your constant views, through the likes that you drop on the videos. And please drop a like on this video if you haven't already. Your engagement, your comments, your presence in the live chat, your subscriptions, the super chats that you drop. Some of you are members of our YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member of the YouTube channel if you haven't already as well. It's awesome what all of you are doing. So please, if you're enjoying it, like, share, subscribe, and get the word out there. Comment. Many of you have been doing so. Don't hesitate to use the live chat. Don't hesitate to use the comments if you're watching this after the fact. Gary, when you've gone and scrolled all the way back through and I've said something heinous, don't hesitate to go back to then jump in the comment section and let me know what you think about whatever it is that myself or someone in the chat has said. You can be heard, much like Scotty has been tonight, using the super chat function. Thank you, Scotty, for the donations there and the multiple different perspectives you brought from those burner accounts that you've utilized. It's been good to have you on board. And to anyone else who uses that super chat function, thank you as well. Every little bit helps us to finance the next big thing that we want to try and deliver to our Hoops Crew community. You can find me on socials, Paul James Games. That is on Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky. The Hoops Crew is at the Hoops Crew. Thank you to our sponsor, Cyril Cook Florist, as always, for your ongoing support. And check out our Patreon, patreon.com/thehoopscrew. There's a 7-day free trial period where you can test out all the exclusives, the early access content, the extended stuff. And for just $5 a month, you can continue to get that delivered to your email inbox. There is some awesome stuff. I will recommend right now to any of our patrons that are watching, that is the paid or the free ones. The paid or the free patrons, there is the weekly scratching post. I might check to see if anyone's responded to it yet. The weekly scratching post article there. I am looking for your thoughts for video, like for topics of conversation that I can bring to the video, that I can bring to that format this week. So please consider popping a comment in. It doesn't, even if you're a free patron, you can suggest the topics of conversation. The videos themselves, though, are behind the Patreon $5 paywall. All right. That is where we'll finish things up for the night. Thank you all, as always, for that support of all that we do. It's been a great pleasure. For one final time, because it is no longer relevant, congratulations to Jack Bose on your 50th game. Awesome milestone. And it'd be great if Ben could spell your name sometime now, between now and your 100th game. Spartacus asked for the Discord link. All right, I'll stall long enough to make sure that that Discord link is dropped in. Let's go. Edit. Expire after. Never. Oh, I don't want to mess with it because Ben might have already generated one. There we go. Shadoo's just dropped it. I'm glad I didn't generate one. You might have to punch that link into your browser just to make it work, Spartacus. Considering, you won't be able to. Oh, there we go. But it worked. Spartacus just landed. So awesome to have you on board, Shadoo, with the W there. That's awesome stuff. And for anyone else who wants to join our Discord community, just click that link. There is no cost. Absolutely no cost to you at all to get involved. But then there's a whole lot of awesome football conversation, other topic, gaming stuff, other sports. It's a great spot where so many of you are now fairly readily active. Shadoo has been listening to a bunch of Linkin Park this week, I can see. And is also, don't tell me, is that 28 hours of World of Warcraft in like the last week or so? I know we've spoken about World of Warcraft recently in your history with it, but my God. Scotty's also been playing Moonlight. 3 hours of that. Thank you all. Join the Discord and talk all things George. Thank you all for your ongoing support of this show, the Hoops Crew, all the stuff that we create. It's been an absolute pleasure as always. And until next time, remain Geelong strong. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you later.